It's the Migrating to Australia show, podcast, event, extravaganza. We could even say concert for today. I'm Grant Williams. I'm the non-expert host of this show. Joining me, as always, is Australia's grisliest, and I'm referring to his facial hair. Australia's grisliest immigration lawyer, Mr. David Bongiorno. How are you, David?
Good afternoon, Grant. How are you? It's Saturday again. It rolls around quickly, and we've got a very special guest.
It's
a very special guest.
And that's why my over-the-top, overblown introduction referred to. David, something that I know you and I have talked about, and I used to live in a suburb called Richmond. I now live in a suburb that I won't identify, but it's further out. But both Richmond and where I live now have a very strong Vietnamese community. And one of the things that I know, this is what we've talked about, David, is we can walk around and you can see pinned up in all the restaurants and street flyers, posters pasted on the walls of these like cabaret singers in their ball gowns and dressed up, and I can't read what the signs say, but it's obviously that there's a concert, there's an event, there's an appearance, maybe there's a CD signing or something going on, and there's these large restaurants in these suburbs that run karaoke, but they also double as basically nightclubs. There's dancing in them, there's singing in them all the time. Now, the long-winded introduction, David, is you found us one of these amazing performers.
And she is amazing. She's a mum, she's an accountant, she's an education agent, she's a restaurant manager. She's the wonderful Zung Ta. Zung, thank you for coming on to Migrating to Australia and for giving us time before Saturday service starts.
Hi, Grant. Hi, David. And hi, everyone who's watching this. I'm very glad to be here today. And also, thanks for having me. It's such a lovely time. And I came to Australia since 2009. And I was the vice president for the Latrobe Vietnamese Student Association. And that was how I met David until today.
Absolutely. We've been friends for how long? 10 years.
10 years. Wow.
Gone very quickly.
Now, David, I think we have to do the disclaimer here. I think for the American legislation, I'm not sure if it's the EU. David sponsors the Vietnamese student group.
Not at the Tribe. No, not
at the Tribe. Oh,
not anymore. Not anymore.
He sponsors everywhere.
So there's no
Tribe. There's no
everywhere on the
there's no financial relationship.
Yes,
there's no financial relationship.
There's no. I'm a friend and a huge fan of Zung. When you hear Zung sing, you'll become a huge fan of Zung as well. We're going to get her to sing a song.
Now, David, not only did you know Zung from when she was a student, and that's the common pathway for so many people to begin their association with Australia, but she's been an accountant and now a restaurateur. And that's where your talent is shining through in so many ways.
So I studied accounting and then became the education agent, and then I always enjoy singing, and so I was taken into the singing performance, professional performing career in Australia as my part-time career as well at the weekend. So I normally perform for Vietnamese community and also mix as well. So I do shows, concerts, ballroom dance club, just everywhere in not just in Victoria but also around Australia. And actually, Grant reminded me of the old days when just before the COVID, I used to sing for a lot for the Richmond Tet Festival, the Vietnamese Lunar New Year Festival. I used to sing a lot for them. Yeah.
And do you support Vietnamese singers when they come out from Vietnam to tour? Are you a supporting act as well for international Vietnamese singers?
So I've got a chance to perform with quite a lot of popular singers from not just Vietnam, but also coming from USA, from just everywhere. Yeah, very, very popular singers and performers. Yeah.
Now that begs the question, doesn't it, David? Who is one of the really famous, popular draw cards that a singer who comes when we're not in a global pandemic, but somebody who does come and tour either from Vietnam or from the States, or I guess even from the Vietnamese community in Canada, who's popular? Oh, you're muted, Zeng. Zung, you're muted yourself somehow.
Oh, here we go. Should be good.
No, we're not good.
No, we're not.
Still. Oh, it's gone into airplane mode or something, David. This would be terrible. So
can you hear us?
Jump out of the studio and jump back in if you can. Or yeah. The dangers of live broadcast, David.
Keeps us on our toes. I tell you what, I've heard Zung sing a few times, and if you close your eyes, she transports you to Vietnam. And I mean, I've been to Vietnam once, and she's got all the ingredients together. She's running a restaurant, utilizing her accounting skills. She's singing, and she's serving the greatest dish on earth, pho.
And
the greatest dish on earth, the greatest single dish, pho.
All right. We're back, and I know I can hear you now this time. There we are.
I'm very sorry. Someone called me on the phone.
That's what happens. That's what happens. David's does that too.
Right.
Now, where were we? What?
The famous singers. I can name some in the Vietnamese community, like Great A pop stars in Vietnam. We did a few shows at Crown, and I was helping them, supporting them, and also performing on the stage as well. Mỹ Tâm, Quang Dũng, Lệ Quyên, quite a few, and then from America as well, and it's called Twin Paris by Night show. Yeah, quite a few.
So Zung, when you're supporting an artist like that at Crown, and for the international and interstate listeners, Crown is our big casino complex with like a big ballroom and concert venue and whatnot. How many people would be coming to see a performer like that? Which room would you be using in the Crown?
Yeah, so we have the Palladium. It caters around 2,000 audience. And we have another room which caters up to about 800 to 1,000 audience as well.
So
big show.
It's a big scene,
it is
David. That we it's a big scene that we don't know about. Well,
can you contextualize for us, Sung? You talk about the singers from America and from Canada. Who are the Australian equivalent? Yeah, and from Vietnam. How big are they? Are they as big? Can you sort of compare them so Australians can get an idea of their fame? Who are similar famous singers in Australia that enjoy the same level of fame that you're?
Maybe Delta.
Okay, really, that big,
just
big.
Those
so sort of
Vietnam, they are like Great A, the most favorite singers. Yeah.
So like Jess Mauboy and Guy Sebastian, that kind of level. So they're as big as you can be as being an Australian in popular music.
Yeah. So when they come to Australia, I could take part in some of the shows as well. So because in Melbourne, I've been singing and also as one of the favorite singers in Melbourne in the Vietnamese community, and so for the big shows normally I couldn't get a chance to perform with them.
And David, not only do we have an amazing Vietnamese scene, music scene, entertainment scene, there's one for all the major ethnic or cultural groups in in Melbourne. I presume it's mirrored around the country. There's an Italian language scene, there's a Sri Lankan one, there's an Indian one. The Indian one is segmented into different regional groups and language groups. There's a Thai one that I know of. I'm sure there's a Filipino one. In Footscray, I've seen African restaurants that do karaoke and performances too that hold a couple of hundred people. It's astounding if you go looking for it.
Are these tours broadcast back to Vietnam? Live performances? Is it on the satellite dish when they perform at Crown? Are you beamed back on TV to Vietnam?
Normally no, because it's live performance, so they don't broadcast. Yeah, it's live performance, but it's very often. So before the COVID, it's maybe a few shows a year. But for me to perform in Victoria, it's maybe once or twice a week. Sometimes it's peak time, like Christmas time, New Year time. I can perform 5 to 7 shows per week.
Wow. Have you ever gone back to Vietnam and performed?
Because I do MCs and I do MC for weddings as well. So not just shows and concerts, but I do for weddings. So yeah, I do sing in the weddings, manage with the band, and then do MC for the wedding. So it's quite busy for me, even it's a part-time job.
You sing in Vietnamese, and do you perform in English as well?
I do. Yes, I do. Yeah.
Do you have a preference?
Because I have a band who play for me, so I normally don't karaoke, but I do sing in like the band will play for me. Some love songs, quite a lot of love songs, because normally it's for the wedding. That's the topic that not normally I chose for weddings. Yeah, like Love Stories by Andy Williams, Hallelujah, and so forth. Yeah.
Would we call you a cabaret singer? What type of singer do you classify yourself as?
I do sing different genres. I sing various genres. Like I can actually change my voice and change my tone and change my kind of voice as well. It's like style as well. So I easily can fit in different genres, which barely a singer can do that. And so in Melbourne, some people compare me with a great A singer. Her name is Le Quyên in Vietnam, and some would compare me to like different other singers as well, because I do sing different genres and I can actually copy them as well, the style and the sound. Yeah.
So, is there a country and western scene in Vietnam?
Sorry, what is that?
Country and western, where you sing about my wife left me and my dog died, my car's broken down, Kenny Rogers, John Denver.
Oh no, I don't do that. But
there's no Vietnamese cowboys.
Oh really? I can sing lullaby, like for traditional songs and stuff like that, but barely I perform that on the stage. It's not as favorite here, but because here for the Vietnamese community, they normally go do ballroom dance, like they do slow cha-cha, bebop, like this remix and so forth. And so I sing different genres like that to fit in their taste of dancing.
And when you perform for weddings, do you do parties, birthdays, anything else?
I do. So I do
different ages.
Yes, I do all kind of functions. Even the company opening, I did for them as well.
Do you sing at your restaurant?
At my restaurant, yes, I do. So I just entertain my audience pretty much, not as an official show. Just entertain karaokeing.
Can you sing one song for us now?
Yes, of course. I do a bolero, which is very popular in Vietnam as well, and it's soft music.
And what's this song about?
So this song is just about a girl who had the love and it was a broken love. So it's a very sad song.
How old is it? From the 60s, 70s, 80s?
I probably think it's around 80s. Yes.
But all the best music was made, David. Doesn't matter what country. All the best music came out of the 80s.
Favorite of all time. Yes. But I just want to let you know that this one is because I use my YouTube channel, and this one is the one I recorded in Vietnam and perform on the stage as well. So that will be my voice inside the music. And because today I couldn't use the professional studio recording,
all right.
so I'm going to sing
We-
along with that. Yeah.
Zung, you might be nice enough to send us the link, so that when we put the show out, I can link and people can check out your YouTube channel and see your performance when you were in Vietnam.
Thank you so much. Of course, yes. Thank you. Let me do that. Yeah, let's get started. Let me know if you can hear it well. Yeah.
It's fine. Just go ahead.
Thank you. Xin trả lại những kỷ niệm buồn vui, ngày xanh đã theo thời gian qua mất rồi, ngồi viết tâm sự nhớ ngược về quá khứ, chợt lên nét suy tư bao năm thầm kín cho thương ta áo tím. Những đêm sương lạnh nghe trái sầu rớt vào tim, thương rất nhiều mái tóc xõa bờ vai, tình khôn lớn nỗi chờ mong ôi quá dài, lòng vẫn hoài thấy chuyện tình đổi thay, đời ai biết được ai, chia ly là hết, xót xa nhiều cũng thế, nếu mai sau gặp xin cúi mặt làm ngơ. Thời gian có ngừng đây bao giờ, thương tiếc rồi sẽ làm buồn vu vơ, nhiều lúc muốn quên để xóa mờ, nhưng mỗi lần nhìn xuân về thương nhớ người đó ta đây, tình vẫn chia phôi biết cuộc đời mình ra sao, ôm kỷ niệm chẳng đưa lời thở than, một tấm khúc cho người thương cho tiếng đàn, đời đã không màng những gì mình mơ ước, mà sao khó tìm quên, xa nhau thì nhớ lúc đêm gần giao xuyến, nhớ thương bây giờ xin trả lại thời gian. Thời gian có ngừng đây bao giờ, thương tiếc rồi sẽ làm buồn vu vơ, nhiều lúc muốn quên để xóa mờ, nhưng mỗi lần nhìn xuân về thương nhớ người đó ta đây, tình vẫn chia phôi biết cuộc đời mình ra sao, ôm kỷ niệm chẳng đưa lời thở than, một tấm khúc cho người thương cho tiếng đàn, đời đã không màng những gì mình mơ ước, mà sao khó tìm quên, xa nhau thì nhớ lúc đêm gần sao xuyến, nhớ thương bây giờ xin trả lại thời gian, nhớ thương bây giờ xin trả lại thời gian. Nhớ thương bây giờ xin trả lại thời gian. So that's
There we are.
Well done, Sung. Well done.
Thank
The best
you.
love songs. The best love songs are always about broken hearts. There's no good happy love songs, are there, David?
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think there are any now. What I loved before we went into the song, you talked about how when you perform in Vietnam. Now, when you perform, how often have you been to Vietnam and performed? And has it been to perform, or you've performed by invitation when there? Going to see
So
family.
this one this one actually I did just for my hobby, and I did the recording on the stage. I did like MV, the music video clip. So I did about I did 9 clips when I was in Vietnam. I did 2 music video, and I filmed that with a friend of mine, and he's an actor in Vietnam. He's very popular TikToker in Vietnam, and then the rest I did on myself on the stage. So with like stage lighting, and it's really nice, really nice. When I sent you the link on YouTube, you will see it.
With your friend who's a popular actor in Vietnam, have you been able to leverage that into gaining a foothold in the Vietnam entertainment industry? Is it something you would do? Would you consider singing in Vietnam, acting in Vietnam?
So before I actually did think of getting into the entertainment industry in Vietnam, because quite a few friends of mine actually, they study university with me in Vietnam before I came to Australia. Some have become very popular MC, and some have become very popular actors and actors, and they all work in the entertainment industry in Vietnam, and they actually encouraged me to do it because they can have very good network and could help me with that. But at the end of the day, I really love Australia, and I think that I have settled with my family. I have beautiful son, and beautiful career here. So I enjoy what I'm doing now in Australia. I'm going to stick with Australia, and just once in a while I go back to Vietnam and do my own show. Yeah, and with my favorite singers there, that'll be good enough for me. Yeah.
That's good. That's good for all of us. We get to hear you sing, get to eat in your restaurant. Tell us about Old Man Pho, the restaurant you manage.
Yes, so it's a franchise, and also we franchise it from a friend of mine as well. So I knew her through some of my shows, and she was one of our audience. So we known for years, and it's really love Vietnamese restaurant, and they are releasing the 10th one in Victoria, and we are one of the youngest one, of the oldest one, sorry. So it's been a 3-year-old, it's a 3-year-old restaurant in South Bank and located right next to the Crown Tower, and it's number one South Bank Boulevard. So it's right on the Riverside Key building. We cater for mainly the office, people coming from the office. But at night time, we open as a restaurant, and we do the night menu restaurant, and we do karaoke as well.
So you're open as a sort of lunch bar, noodle bar kind of thing on for lunch.
Yeah, so we do pho. We do the very popular Vietnamese one, and we get very lovely feedback from customers. They love our pho, the noodle soup.
The greatest dish on earth.
Yes,
I actually promised.
Bánh mì. Bánh mì is also a rising taste of Vietnam as well. Bánh mì. We do bánh mì, the roll, the Vietnamese roll, and we do rice paper roll, and we do all kinds of rice vermicelli as well. And we have some of our specialty that's for lunch, and then dinner. We do the same menu, but we also have the dining menu as well. We have hot pot. And I do cook quite a few customized, pre-made to pre-order menu as well for the Vietnamese community, like lobster with like crab with tamarind sauce and stuff like that. So I do cook all kind of stuff. Yeah, and we do karaoke
David,
as well. So
I mentioned to you before the show, David, that somebody that I do another podcast with was extremely kind to me and had given me their photography book, which is amazing, and some lovely equipment as well. And I promised I'd take him out for lunch on Tuesday, and and we're both big fans of Vietnamese. He took me to a North Vietnamese restaurant in Sunshine last week.
Oh, nice.
Guess where I'm taking him on Tuesday?
In Sunshine?
No, I'm not going to Sunshine. I'm going to South Bank.
Oh, yes. Also coming Tuesday. Yes, of course. And also, if you are aware of the Melbourne Money program, so the government actually supporting us in South Bank as well. So when the client comes and dine in with us, they actually can claim back the 20% off, the 20% rebate.
Fabulous deal. That's a fabulous deal.
Yes. So we are glad.
So one of the things that's amazed me in the 10 years I've known you, you're a phenomenal networker. Now, a lot of people listen and want to know the secret to getting on in Australia. Can you explain to listeners who want to come study, go through the system, get permanent residency, citizenship? Can you explain the importance of networking with people to listeners?
Yes, so I do agree with that. So I get help a lot from actually people I didn't know before. I wasn't friends of them, but through the networking, I became friends, and they actually supported me a lot along the way. When I came to Australia, when I was starting and leaving Australia. So before I came to Australia, I actually got to know an Australian, and she was a volunteer in Vietnam, and she was teaching in a college in Vietnam. She didn't teach at my school, but then she came to visit my school, and I networked with her. And so when I came to Australia, their family actually welcomed me and took, picked me up from the airport and let me stay at their house until I feel comfortable to move out, as they were very, very kind to me and very lovely family. So that was the very first part of my time in Australia, and I think it was very important when I came on my own and I got support. And then along the way, I always get support from the people I know, and through even starting even the job hunting and everything else. So I became the vice president of La Visa, the Vietnamese Student Association, and that was how I got the job offer as an education agent, and that was my very first start of my job in Australia after my graduation.
You worked very hard during your study as well. I think you worked in a fruit shop, if memory is correct.
Yes. So I just worked everywhere, in a restaurant, in a food shop, and in a yogurt bar, fruit as a yogurt bar in shopping center. And then I always seek help and then network with other people, and then ask them. And also David was a great helper for me in the consulting me through the pathway to stay in Australia as well. So I do really appreciate the networking in Australia.
And it's important for people not to be shy, isn't it?
That's right, yes. Expose myself out there. That's what I did when I was a student. I was always confident when I was a student, but I always encourage the students who study after me, that always expose themselves out there and seek help whenever they need it, and just don't be shy. Just seek help, ask for help, ask for network sharing. The experience, whoever experience, and they always help them and always share the experience, and that make lives a lot easier for them.
Now, Melbourne has a big Vietnamese community, but Sydney has an even bigger one. What made you choose Melbourne over Sydney?
Okay, so that was also it wasn't that I chose Melbourne over Sydney. Back then I got the exchange scholarship at La Trobe University, but I always found Melbourne is the most livable city since I stepped in Australia. Always loved it. So I travel all around Australia a lot. I've been to Perth, Brisbane, Queensland, Hobart, Adelaide, and then Sydney. But I always love so traveling is good, but I always to choose to live, I would always choose Melbourne. Love it.
And do you have family here in Melbourne?
So I first came to Australia on my own, but then my brother came after me, and then my nephew, then my stepsister. So now I have a big family here.
So you never get homesick.
I sometimes a little bit, but now I'm really, really used to my life here, and Australia always my second home, and I have my family here and all my great friends and job, and so barely that I feel really homesick, and I can cook my Vietnamese food as well. So
Now, Mum, where's Mum living? Mum doesn't live in Vietnam, does she?
no, she so my mom lives in Czech Republic. So she left Vietnam for Czech since I was only 10 years old, and back then I lived with my cousin. So my cousin took care of me, and until I studied university in Vietnam for 3.5 years, and I got the scholarship to come to Australia. So I only sees my mom once in a while, like once every few years, because we are so far away from each other. But we're trying our best. During the COVID time, it's a lot harder.
And the Czech Republic, have you actually travelled? See, I've never been to Eastern Europe. Have you been to Eastern Europe?
So I've been there twice. And I feel very lucky. So after I got my citizenship, the Australian citizenship, I felt so easy to travel. I just didn't have to do anything. So easy. And that's a great advantage with to be an Australian, eh?
You've kept your Vietnamese passport?
Pardon me?
You've kept your Vietnamese passport?
Yes, I do. I'm still keeping my Vietnamese passport. So very luckily that Vietnam allowed two dual citizenships, not like some other countries.
What's the best thing about being an Australian citizen? Tell people who are aspiring to become Australian citizens, what's the best two things?
You know what? I love everything about Australia. I do love everything about Australia, from the culture, people, atmosphere, environment, education, welfare, social welfare, just everything about Australia. I love it. So if you ask me two things, I just say 10, 20 top things, not just food. Like food, we have a variety. You could never find any better food. I've been to Europe, and it was very hard for me to find a good restaurant. Even a Vietnamese one, I had to cook at home most of the time to cater for my fussy taste. But in Australia, I could find easily everywhere. Yummy.
Can't get a better endorsement than that, can you, David?
Oh, it's ringing! It's ringing, and I'm just letting it play around in my head. It's wonderful.
And also, you know what? I've been working in the real estate industry for the last 2 years as well. So I'm doing as an independent industry real estate agent, and I work with some other real estate agents. They're also my friends as well, and also partners. And always the Vietnamese always say, "Oh my God, in Australia the land and the houses are so cheap in compared to those in Vietnam." For those in Vietnam, we only live in very small apartment, very congested, very tiny.
Someone's called. No, they've called you, and it's gone. Here we go. We're back.
Can you
hear
me now?
Yeah, I can now.
Yeah. So people are rushing to buy properties in Australia as well. Yeah, they love we have big houses, big land, a lot of spaces, a lot of parks, water, river, just everywhere, parks everywhere. That's not what we could find easily in Vietnam.
As an Australian citizen, what do you think we could do better in this country? What could you've sung its praises? What could we do better? What could we improve upon?
I think the government has done a lot for the Australian. I think, and also through the COVID pandemic, the international student got quite a lot of support, and that's what the government could do for all the international students or foreigners. But I guess that if during this COVID time, some of the students, they actually got their visas cancelled because they went back to Vietnam and they had to defer their course. and they try to go back to come back to the country to study before their visa got cancelled, but because the border hasn't opened yet because of the COVID, it's it's nothing we could do. But if they could understand the situation of those ones who actually study in Australia, get the Australian visas, but they can't come back yet, if they could understand that the situation and give some mercy on that, then that'll be great. That'll be wait for them to come back when they can come back, something like that.
Well, we'll be covering that very closely, won't we, David? As soon as we know,
we're so waiting
as soon
for
as
it.
we know what will happen.
I know, yeah.
It's heartbreaking, really.
They gone back to Vietnam and they ask me every day when I can come back to study.
I think it's a tragedy because international students bring so much to the country, and let's look at what you've done. You've brought so much to the country, and also too, you're a hard worker. Do you think Australians work as hard as international students and international? I think we could sort of learn a lot and work as hard as you guys do. Do you think we don't work as hard as we should?
No, I think it really depends on individuals, and I think that there are quite a few more motivation for a person to actually try to work hard. Like, I really enjoy Australia. I thank Australia for having for granting me the Australian citizen, and to let me stay here. I enjoy everything, and I want to contribute as much as I can, not just to work for my life, but also for for everything else around me.
Well, you're one of the hardest working people I know, and you've got a restaurant to run. Can you give us one more song?
Oh, no, just that, because I enjoy it very much. So that's why I told Grant before that I study as an accountant, but I found that accountant, being an accountant wasn't so much suitable for my characteristics, for my personality. So I changed. And yes, so as long as, for me, I think as long as I like what I do, I'm doing, and I'm good at it. So yeah, that's the biggest motivation for me to keep going.
What's the final song you're going to sing for us? What do you want to sing for us for
yes,
one last song?
You want a dance song, or you?
What about an uppy, peppy one?
Yeah.
Grant, do you feel like an uppy, peppy one? A bit of a jingle?
I think we always want to go out on an upbeat, dancey kind of number, Dave. I mean, you and I always leave everyone feeling energized.
Do you want English song like Shalala?
I don't do an English one, because then we'll get done with copyright strike. So
right. Yeah, we do a cha-cha song. We do a cha-cha song.
Yeah. So, yeah, we don't want to get gonged, Dave.
Oh,
I'm pretty. I don't think the algorithm will pick it up if it's Vietnamese on our channel, but who knows?
Because this one is on my YouTube channel, so it will be fine. Don't worry.
Podcast is different rules, but we'll see. We'll see.
Hỡi người yêu, anh như ngàn ánh sao bừng lên trong màn đêm lung linh đẹp xinh. Những phút thần tiên bên em lòng ngất ngây, trao dâng trong lòng em đam mê cuồng quay. Mình yêu nhau đi và yêu nhau hoài nhé anh. Kề vai bên nhau cùng say sưa khúc nhạc tình. Mình vui đêm nay và trao nhau tình đắm say. Này anh yêu ơi, tình em ngàn lời muốn nói rằng em yêu anh, yêu ngay phút ban đầu. Tình mình cầm anh quen nhau, trong ánh mắt anh treo. Này anh yêu ơi, yêu anh nhất trên đời, và chỉ mình anh thôi trong trái tim em.
Got the toes tapping, David?
I'm dancing on the inside, Grant.
Zoom. Cha-cha-cha. Normally I sing this song for people dance cha-cha-cha. It's really fun.
Zung, David knows this about me.
Như ngàn ánh sao bừng lên trong màn đêm lung linh đẹp xinh, những phút thần tiên bên em lòng ngất ngây trao dâng trong lòng em đam mê cuồng quay, mình yêu nhau đi và yêu nhau hoài nhé anh, kề vai bên nhau cùng say sưa khúc nhạc tình, mình vui đêm nay và trao nhau tình đắm say. Này anh yêu ơi, tình em ngàn lời muốn nói rằng em yêu anh, yêu ngày phút ban đầu tình cờ mình quen nhau, trong ánh mắt anh chờ. Này anh yêu ơi, yêu anh nhất trên đời và chỉ mình anh thôi trong trái tim em. Yêu ngày phút ban đầu tình cờ mình quen nhau, trong ánh mắt anh chờ. Này anh yêu ơi.
Well, they're migrating to Australian nightclub.
This is
I know.
fantastic. We'll have to have you back on again,
Yes.
Zung. I love your singing. Now, you had a duo.
Thank you so much.
What's happened to your wonderful
Yes, of
guitar?
course.
Do you still perform with your guitarist?
The guitarist, yes, I do sometimes. Because of the COVID time, I do, and then I took shows around Melbourne now. It's not just the ballroom dance club, so I do around this restaurants and some other bars as well. So less with him.
Zung,
So you, when you come to Old Man Fur, you can karaoke with me.
Oh, no. I'll watch you sing forever. I can't sing to save myself. I've got a terrible voice.
David,
Grant,
no.
might sing. Grant might sing with you on Tuesday lunchtime, though.
Oh, we'll see. David, you know that I am a great fan of J-pop, Japanese pop, Japanese rock.
Oh, really?
And Zung, people ask me why I like it when I can't speak the language and can't understand the language. But a good song, you can always understand the feeling of the song. And that, so if the musical arrangement and the playing is fantastic and the vocals evoke emotion, then it's a good song.
Absolutely. Music has no borders.
and we haven't made a good song in the pop genre in Australia or the US since 1994, David, probably. So,
Oh, really?
It's been a long time. It's been a long time.
I mean, really, since the Flock of Seagulls, it was all downhill.
So when Grant and David come to Old Man Fur, I will sing with Grant. Hallelujah. How about that?
Love it.
More than talking. I do sing more than talking as well.
Very good. Very good. I'll be too busy chowing down on delicious Vietnamese food.
Oh, thank you. So when you come on Tuesday, I will cheer you up there as well. Yeah.
And,
fantastic, Zung.
And just so our listeners don't get too confused, David, because we're time dating this and everything. When the listeners are listening to this, it could well be while I'm eating. So
no
we'll just see. Have a terrific service tonight, Zung, and I hope you're bouncing back really well from our extended periods of lockdown. Business is slowly recovering in Melbourne, and I hope it's a really successful year for you this year.
I hope so too. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thanks for taking the time, Zung.
And all the best for the migrating industry too.
It's some people are coming. It's just what it is. It's about people staying here these days, keeping people here. People can still come in, very limited numbers and very specific occupations. But thank God we've got you in here to sing, to cook for us, to feed us. Come on the show
Yes.
again and sing for us, please.
Thank you so much. And also, David, when you some of the clients they need to the homeland package, let me know. I'm in that industry.
I'll do that as well.
For you and for your clients.
See, forever
So
working. Forever working. You're so
visas.
impressive.
Thank you so much.
Ciao,
and thank you
Zung.
so much for having me today.
It's been
Pleasure.
great to meet you, Zung.
Thank you so much.
Ciao.
It's been after such a long time, yeah. And I am very looking forward to seeing you on Tuesday, Graham, and your friend. And David, of course, very soon. Thank you
Absolutely.
so much.
Terrific.
Have a great one. Ciao.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
You too. Have a lovely weekend. Bye for now. Ciao, ciao. Bye
Bye
everyone.
bye.
Xin chào mọi người nha. Xin được cảm ơn, trân trọng cảm ơn và xin được cùng mọi người cùng ủng hộ cho service của David and Associate nha. Tại vì David là một người luật sư rất là tuyệt vời, kính thưa quý vị. Xin chào tạm biệt và hẹn gặp lại. Thank you. I advertise for you, David. I said
You're a star.
such a fantastic lawyer.
Oh, thank you, Zung. You have a great one. Bye.
You're welcome. All right.
See
Bye.
ya.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
See ya. Bye.
Oh,
Isn't
David.
she awesome? Isn't she awesome? She's awesome.
Well, dear listener, something very, very different. We next time we have Zoom on, David, we'll definitely do the Tuesday night. Hopefully, she's able to do an evening and not at the restaurant, and we could have a lot more fun, break the format, and look, if we promote it well enough in advance, we might have a full house of people joining in. That would be great.
I've seen Zung perform in front of small and medium small crowds, and she's a great communicator when she sings, and she has everybody's attention. That's fantastic. She had our attention today, and I tell you what, she might sing at the restaurant for you, Grant. So you'd be very lucky.
Yeah. Now, David, I just want to draw us back to the serious for a minute. The serious migrating issues for the moment.
1 July today. I mean, we're the show's coming out next week. It's the 3rd of July. We're 2 days into the new migration year, and Live in Melbourne, the Victorian State Migration Program has opened up on the 1st, and we'll be looking at that in the week to come. And STEM, the Victorian government is pressing on STEM qualifications. People with STEM qualifications will go through the process, what is required to be nominated to live in Melbourne, live in Victoria. The state migration we've done before, but it's a movable feast, and the 190 visa for Victoria we'll be looking at very soon. New South Wales and Queensland will follow, and we'll work our way around the states and territories to let everybody know about the 190, the 491, and any other visa news that comes to hand.
And I've been asked on social media, David, about the news that came through yesterday that the arrivals are being halved. Now,
from the 14th, I think it's going to come into play from the 14th.
That's right. Now, be patient, everybody, because the details are very thin on the ground. We don't know who. Well, when I say who, I don't mean individuals, but we don't know what categories of people will be affected and
what exemptions there will be as well.
Yeah, so we just bear with us, because we don't want to be putting out a whole lot of claptrap and a whole lot of garbage, because that's been one of the characteristics of the pandemic in Australia, is that there's been a whole lot of claptrap and garbage that goes out there that people are then parroting as official information. And in so many fields, it's just been pretty poor. And that's why people are confused and people are upset, because they get told one thing and it's just not the facts. So that's why I've got Mr. Bongiorno. No, hang on, this way. Mr. Bongiorno here, because
there was an article in the Fairfax Press this week about people coming here to holiday. Couldn't be further from the truth. No one's coming into holiday here.
And that was I actually got into a bit of a slanging match with someone on social media about that article, David. And to put the listeners in the picture, there was an article that came out that said of the arrivals into Australia in, what was it? It was May. It was the May figures, I think, that they'd analysed passenger cards of people who had arrived based on freedom of information request to the immigration department, and that a large proportion of people had put, when what is your purpose of coming to Australia, they had put a holiday. Now, I'm not as hard and fast with you as it not being true, but I think a lot of people might have been returning to visit family who are then going to leave the country again, but they are Australians coming in, seeing their family, but they're not writing family reunion on their passenger cards. They're writing that they're coming in for a holiday. So I think
people, if people are listening and they're not Australian residents, they're not Australian citizens or eligible New Zealand residents, they can't come for a holiday.
Yeah.
People can return who are Australian citizens, Australian permanent residents, but the story is people who are not Australian citizens or Australian residents cannot come on holiday here. They can come for specific purposes. They've got to apply for exemptions to travel, be granted visas. But Australia's not open for holiday business, no.
No. So we've cleared that one up, David, and even though it's not true, it kind of was true. It's just that they weren't making it clear that it was Australians or permanent residents who were coming back. And, they might only be staying for 3 months or something like that. They might be staying for 6 months. But
as we speak, 12 million people are under lockdown in this country, at least 12 million.
Yeah. And no, actually, David, yes, sorry, I don't want to contradict you. In 2 hours' time, Queensland are out of lockdown. So we've had most of Australia in the last week enduring some form of lockdown. I don't want to overplay it. We went through a really long one here in Melbourne. It was hard work. Most of the other locations have been through a week or 2 weeks. Maybe Sydney might go a little bit longer.
What did we have last year, Grant? How long did it go for? I've forgotten now.
Well, I think you're on the other side of the city to me. I think you had 2 lockdowns. One of them was short and one of them was long. But where I live, we had an experiment before we went into the full city lockdown where we were locking down suburbs, postcodes. And unfortunately, the area I live in was that area where the community spread kept happening, and we were under lockdown for a significant portion of time before the rest of Melbourne was. So I think we were out of lockdown for it's either 2 or 4 weeks, but we couldn't travel more than, I think it was 10 kilometres away from home in that period. But basically it was 7 months here.
It's a long time. It's a long time. So
I've got friends in the Philippines and Thailand and Indonesia now,
who
and Japan, who are basically locked up. They cannot get out. In one of my friends, only one person in the house, and they live in a boarding house, a student living in a city which is not her home city. But in a boarding house, only one person from the boarding house can leave each week to buy food. So that's a very different set of circumstances to where we find ourselves here in Australia. So be patient. If you're in Australia, be patient. Bite your lip a little bit, because there are some places that are doing it much harder and
much longer too.
Yep. And we we just all have to wait. Every country has to wait until we all get vaccinated. Who knows how long that's going to be, David? Actually, dear listener,
we won't go into that.
Dear listener, on Tuesday, I'm going out for a lovely Vietnamese meal for lunch. And on Thursday, I'm getting my second AstraZeneca shot. So I'll be fully vaccinated. But then by the time we open up, I'll probably be having to have a booster shot because there'll be new variants of concern floating around by then. So
I'm having mine, Grant. I'm having mine in 6 weeks, my second shot of AstraZeneca.
There we go. So we'll be able to.
We can do the podcast in my office.
Well, and again, listeners, if you're overseas, the combined governments announced yesterday. That's all the states and territories, and the federal government announced yesterday that we have a 4-step plan to return to COVID normal. We don't know how long it's going to take, but shortly, we hope that people who have had all their vaccinations, both their shots or Johnson & Johnson, if that comes in and you get one, will be able to have free reign of travel within the country, within Australia. That should be very good news for the tourism and hospitality industry, which have been smashed during the pandemic. And I'm sure it's no different all around the world. Resorts aren't open, people aren't traveling, but where are we going to go, Dave?
Tuesday,
we've got V Nguyen, Vietnamese Australian social worker, one of the last to be nominated under last year's state migration program, talking about being a social worker in Australia.
When you said Tuesday, is that when I'm releasing it? Am I, David?
You are now.
I was actually going to release it on Monday. No, but I'm going to put this one out on Monday because I think everyone wants to hear the singing. Sorry for the waffling, dear listener. It's kind of getting like that. It's the pandemic, and we're because we've been doing this the same way for so long. It's just like slipping on your comfortable shoes when you get home from work and you just slouch into your chair. So if we've sounded a little bit casual in the last week or so, because I think we're all just getting to that point. I can't wait to get back in the office, Dave, with your office, not my office, with some guests in the flesh, your fantastic coffee machine, and
it's a great machine.
It'll be just like going back down memory lane. How many months will it have been? I think we did our last one in the office in, I think it might have been the first week in February, 2020.
Feb of 2020. It's been a long time. And while we're on air, I'll make a confession. I accidentally blocked one of the pods in the coffee machine. So I'm getting it out before Monday when everyone comes back to the office and says, why have we only got one head working for the coffee machine, not two? It's because I blocked it.
And they're going to look in the logbook and go, David.
The Q code, the QR code will be me. That's it.
That's right. All right. Well, migrating to Australia, nightclub, cabaret version. It's done for the day. Thanks for being with me, Mr. David Bongiorno. Where should people reach out to you if they are friends of Zung who are having trouble getting back in as students, David? Where should they look you up?
The fastest way, Grant, to get in touch is to direct message me on Twitter, and then we can arrange for a phone consultation, Zoom consultation, Skype consultation, if you're locked out or if you're locked in. If you're here and you don't want to come into the office, I'm now seeing people in the office, QR coding, mask wearing consultations, or we can do it on telephone or video. But the best way is at David Bongiorno, direct message Twitter at David, David Bongiorno, Bongiorno.
And bingo was his name, Ho. So, and I'm Grant Williams.
I'm David Bongiorno. Bye.